Well, for more, joining us live is the Dr. Guillermo Tell Aveledo, Dean of the Faculty of Legal and Political Studies at the Universidad Metropolitana in Caracas. So, Doctor, thank you very much for joining us. So, in terms of the court hearing, they discussed the legality of America's actions and the capture of Maduro and his wife. What is your reaction from the court hearing?
In and of itself, the legality of the court and the actions are, of course, a matter of controversy and a very contested issue. But the crux of the matter is not this is beyond the legal realm, and the jurisdiction of the court is proper in the U.S. The issues there are whether they can enforce this, and as much as we can see, they can. And will there be any reaction? Will there be any windfall of this beyond this? I'm not sure. And I think that's a matter to discuss any other time.
In terms of the capture, very interesting, isn't it? Because we do hear so many people saying he was an illegitimate president. People say he was a dictator. He is a dictator. And people are saying that it was illegal what President Trump did. So with your expertise, can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Well, he's not been indicted for being a dictator or an authoritarian ruler. He's been indicted for the instrumentalization of drug trafficking to the U.S. And whether the case is there, of course, the prosecution will have to prove that case during the trial. The crucial of the matter is that the trial was accepted, the indictment was accepted, and there might be something there that could put him in jeopardy in that regard. However, he's not been indicted for his authoritarian ruling. That's a bonus in a sense for Venezuelans. But as we see, this hasn't changed in the country.
And what are you seeing in terms of civilians? What's the reaction been? We've certainly seen protests. We've had mixed reviews. What's your view on this, and what are you seeing personally?
The reaction in the country has been actually very muted because there's an environment of repression and social control that has quelled any sort of spontaneous demonstrations against the government, whether majoritarian or not. The truth of the matter is that people against the government cannot express themselves freely in the country. So the expressions of any sort of opinion, besides those that are supporting the status quo, are not allowed. And I'm not to say, and there are contradictions in polling about the matter in Venezuela, about the popularity of the government in Venezuela. But the truth of the matter is that you cannot ask the Venezuelans to show their emotions beyond the ballot box, and they showed their expectations of change 2 years ago in the election of 2024, and overwhelmingly, as far as we know, supported change in the country. Whether it was this kind of change, whether this kind of violent change was what they wanted, I'm not. I cannot say for sure, but the thing is that there was no other avenue to change at the moment. Of course, the Venezuelan diaspora is another matter, and the Venezuelan diaspora can express themselves freely. Most of them live in free countries, free societies, such as Australia, the United Kingdom, the US, Argentina, Mexico, and they can express themselves freely, and they can be as overjoyed or sad as they can. As many people are protesting outside the tribunal against the indictment. So those are the benefits of living in a free society.
And tell us about the economy. And again, we hear that there is a lot of poverty, and more recently we are seeing, elevated military at the borders. And just describe to us a little bit about what's going on and what has been happening there over the past years.
Well, Venezuelan society has grown unequal in the last few years. The humanitarian crisis that characterized the rule of Mr. Maduro through the first years of his tenure was a bit attenuated in the last years through the liberalization of the economy, a very haphazard liberalization of the economy. But this led to a strong drive towards inequality. those who are not in the government payroll, those who are not in liberal professions or have means to get US dollars from the free economy, are actually very, very poor. And those who are not in urban areas are even poorer still. That's one of the reasons and the main drivers for discontent against Mr. Maduro. It's not necessarily the anti-democratic measures, but of course, the anti-democratic measures were to retain the stability of the country when you're not delivering the goods in terms of the economy and social services.
Dr. Aveledo, we really appreciate your time and analysis. Thank you so much for joining us.